A woman just trying to go to church, okay? Just trying to go to church when a speeding police officer kills her as she's parking. And now the family of the woman killed by the police officer is suing the city of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Speeding cop crashed and killed this black veteran, as we said, on her way to church. Here she is, US Air Force vet Christine Harris, mother of 2 daughters. She was killed September 22nd, 2020. Beautiful woman, gone, just like that. 57-year-old was pulling into the Church of Christ parking lot in Fayetteville, North Carolina, when her car was hit. She was ejected from her white Honda minivan. She died at a nearby hospital, just a brutal death. Relatives and their lawyers claim the police department willfully undermined the justice system to protect the officer from prosecution. This found in Atlanta Black Star. 28-year-old special police officer Jonathan Fambro crashed into this veteran's vehicle at 91 miles per hour. Speed limit was 50, according to Harris's family attorneys. He was taken to a nearby hospital for injuries, but never charged for his driving. Christine's husband, William Harris, wept openly at the press conference, announcing the wrongful death lawsuit for his wife. You see civil rights attorney Ben Crump by his side. Here's what the husband said. William Harris, I've been living with this over 2 years now, trying to understand why this has happened. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump, representing the Harris family, along with co-counsel Jason Burton. They've been down this road before. If anybody can handle it, it's them. Why does it seem, though, Ben, that every police officer is worthy of this kind of blue protective wall, no matter what? Didn't take any kind of, no toxicology tests to run, just routine stuff that if you had done that or I had done that, they'd draw some blood, wouldn't just check us out for scrapes and bruises. They want to know what was going on, what was so important. What is the policy? As a reporter for several decades at this point, you never can get police to tell you what their chase policy is. By the way, they kind of make it up as they go along. Everything's private, internal, like they don't work for the community.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And it all goes to this notion of serve and protect, because the important question is serve and protect who and what, right? And that goes back once again to the white supremacist history of the United States of America, because fundamentally, police were never put in place to serve and protect regular everyday people. They are there to serve and protect the order, right? Like they want to maintain order, but what order? What order exactly is that, right? That throughout the history of the United States always has been an order where queer folks, black and brown folks, poor folks are kept down and rich, wealthy white folks are shielded, right? That fundamentally is what happens. And that's why when you see protests, what police do is they'll do everything in their power to protect private property while they're literally, firing tear gas into peaceful protesters, right? Like that should be really all you need to understand, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what the policy is. It does not matter what the policy is. As long as police internally have the power to punish themselves or not punish themselves, then it doesn't matter. Then policy is irrelevant, right? Even places where high-speed chases have been banned because they don't make sense. Anybody that you would chase in a high-speed chase, you could find later with security cameras and tracking vehicles, right? Like, everywhere that they've been banned because innocent bystanders die like this all the time. Except these policies only matter if it's willing to be enforced internally. But as we've seen with Richard Nixon's war on drugs and the subsequent huge increase in police funding, you see very, very clearly that it was stated explicitly by Nixon administration officials that the whole purpose was to target black and brown folks because they were perceived political opponents of Republicans and to wrongfully jail them, right? Because if we had a justice system that actually worked to protect society, right? Police would be kicking down the doors of people doing wage theft, which way outweighs, larceny and burglary, right? And so fundamentally, it just goes to the roots. And unfortunately, the Democrats Democratic Party is unwilling to challenge this because they want to play this game of like, oh, well, we want to be fair and balanced. And to be real, right? If you've talked to like city council members like across the country, there's a significant chunk of them that come in wanting to do police reform, but literally get intimidated away from doing anything. There are quite literally city council members across this country who are afraid of our own police departments because the type of people that are actively recruited for police departments are like, you're talking about like the same racist, unstable folks that are like yelling at customer service workers, you know?
Yeah, okay, they could be in another segment on this show. Many of them, okay? It is just outlandish, and I do find frustration with the fact that it does seem now shining a light. They're not embarrassed. They're gonna just wait it out. There'll be settlement, taxpayer dime, but the police aren't gonna change here. They got to be forced to change, and you're so right about the Democratic Party.